Well, a driver from the Golden State that's been tearing up the Friesen Performance IMC Northern SportMod scene is a man who comes to us from the California coastal city of Prunedale. That is Matthew Hagio. He's going to join us on the Beyond the Flags podcast, talk about his 2024 season and the hot streak that they're on currently right now, as well as his racing journey and following in his family's footsteps of being a race car driver. That's coming up next. But before we get to the interview, make sure wherever you're listening or watching from, you hit the like button and subscribe so that you don't miss out on future episodes. Well, from Prunedale, California, and Friesen Performance IMC Northern SportMod number 14H, Matthew Hagio. Matthew, great to have you on here, the Beyond the Flags podcast, and really looking for this interview, telling you about your story and your involvement in racing throughout your life.
So, Bobby Hogue that family got my dad into racing when he was 16, and then he'd been doing it ever since then. So when I turned 13, which was technically a year early, to start racing four-bangers, I technically started in the four-bangers. I didn't, whenever I kind of keep track of what all my career stuff is, I don't include that. I kind of started keeping track in 2012 when we moved to the hobby stock division, which is what I guess would be, it wasn't IMCA, but it'd be similar to like the IMCA hobby stocks.
Mm-hmm.
But did that in 2012, 13, 14, switched to SportMods in 2015, and did that until 2018. And then in 2019, we switched to AMOD. Did AMOD from 19, 20, 21, 22, and 23. And then we're having a new car built. Clay Daly started building his own chassis out of his garage and is going to get away from Evolution and is doing TZ1s now. So we ordered one of those and didn't get finished for the start of the year. And so I wasn't sure what I was going to do this year. And my dad called me and was like, hey, since I got the spare SportMod sitting in the shop, and why don't we go run that with Oregon and Wairika having all the big money stuff that they were having, with Medford having that 7,000 to win earlier in the year and Wairika doing their 15,000 to win. And then we always wanted to do Speed Week up there. So we decided to go back to SportMod until the new car is done. And then been doing that all of this year is why we're back down to SportMod. And then once the new car's done, go back to an AMOD.
Well, I was going to say, like, this year has been really good to you. 4 wins, 3 of them at Ocean, and then most recently last Saturday at Merced in front of a packed house on a big night. Overall, how would you say the season's treated you, despite what you just kind of told me of just kind of on the fly, oh man, we're going to have to switch gears a little bit. This is what we're prepped to get into.
Yeah, it hasn't been one of our biggest years. The trend has kind of gone where, coincidentally, I have more wins on odd numbered years than even numbered years, which, and then this year has tracked with that. Like 2015, when we switched to SportMod, we won 8 of those races that year. And then the next year in 16, we only won 4. But then the next year in 17, we won 11.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next year in 18, we only won 5. And then we kind of hit kind of a dry spell over those next handful of years. And then this year is an even year, and we're at 4. I think we've ran 32 times, 28 or 32 races. I think we've ran. So it, even though Merced, it was World of Outlaw night, and SportMod was just their last weekly points race. But it felt like it was a big win for a couple of reasons. One, like you said, the stands were packed for the World of Outlaw, so that was cool. And that was the first win I'd gotten at Merced in what I would consider full-size cars. I had won a race there in the four-banger days in 2010 and 11, but that was the first big car win that we'd gotten there, so that was cool.
Well, and you just seem to have just this surge of greatness here in the last month or so. I mean, and then this is no disrespect or no shade thrown at you. You guys got a win at Ocean in the early part of the year in the spring, and then there was a little bit of a drop. I mean, you'd travel a lot. You ran up in the speed week, and you were consistently fast. It wasn't like you were a traffic cone or anything. And then August, all of a sudden, just the winning account just started to balloon a little bit with a couple wins at Ocean, pretty much back to back, and now this win at Merced. It seems like you guys have really gotten a good stride.
Yeah, we started out the year with what we felt like was some decent speed, and we had, I want to say those first couple races, we just kind of had some bad luck, caught up in some wrecks and different things, and it speed week, we were always fast early in the night, doing good in our heat race, and then I never drew better than 8 the whole week. and that's tough to do when you're at a territory racing against guys that aren't slouches. They're all good up there. It's all their home tracks. They've done the tour. And so it's tough starting out good each night and then putting yourself kind of behind the ball, behind that many fast cars, when you're, not somewhere that's familiar. And we finally got it together for Douglas County. We pulled off the top 5 there again, started 10th, finished 3rd. And we loved all the tracks. It just was tough competition. And I think we've learned a lot, racing up north as much as we have, and then being able to bring it back here and try to figure out how to apply it here. And I think a lot of that helped with Merced. They've got a handful. There's probably 2 tracks up there that are real similar to Merced. Mm-hmm. And so I noticed that was a big difference. And even though we didn't get the finishes we wanted up there, it's still, you come back with a little bit more confidence just racing on different surfaces and against the tighter competition. And yeah, it was a long summer. It was a long dry spell there.
Sure.
And we freshened up a couple of things, got some shocks redone. We're with Ralphie over at TDS. He got us some stuff back. We just kind of changed a little bit of stuff, and then we started getting those wins, and then it ended up being 3 in a row now. And I don't know. We're thinking about going somewhere this weekend. We have Antioch and Bakersfield racing, so we'll see if we end up doing one of those, and then hopefully we'll keep this momentum going into the Pettit, and then which will be the one of the bigger 2-day races for around here, and then the next weekend leads into the Bowers Memorial, so that'll be a big 2-day race in Antioch. The week after that's going to be the 2-day show for Bud Nationals Bakersfield. And then we have a week or 2 off, and then we'll do that 2-day show in Merced for the Stites. So it's definitely nice getting these wins right now and having that going into these bigger races to finish out the year.
Yeah, I was going to say fall specials. I mean, it's bing, bang, boom. There's pretty much only one weekend off. I think it's the 19th. Other than that, there's multi-day shows, and there's some prestige in it. There's going to be good cars there, and that points are done and away with. So there's guys that it's like, hey, I I wouldn't say throw caution to the wind, but it's like I can take some chances here.
Yeah, for sure. Especially, it seems like that's what it seems like a lot of people do. All those races are so much tougher because everyone doesn't feel like they have to save the car for the next week to make a points race or something. Mm-hmm. All the seasons will be over. There's not anything to lose other than losing that race. So you might as well throw it all out there to win that race. And, we might see guys might try to save equipment, maybe the first couple, knowing that, the Bowers is the next week and then Bud Nationals is the next week. And then with the final clash race for California being paired up on the second day of Bud Nationals. So that makes that race a little bit bigger and not stressful, but just kind of more important.
Yeah.
And because
I'm a little bit.
Exactly. And Jason Ryan's leading that. We're 5 points behind him in that. So we have a chance there to hopefully double down. And obviously the goal is to not only win Bud Nationals, since we haven't done that yet in such a huge race for California, but winning that, then hopefully getting 6 points on him and then capturing both. That'd be really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and something really cool too is I know that they didn't have a lot of IMCA races on the schedule, but Santa Maria coming back. I mean, you've had a lot of success at Ocean, but Santa Maria is another joint that you've had success at. And for that place to reopen, which it seemed like was never going to happen, now they've had some races, and then just being down there and talking the powers that be, they're excited for 2025. Looks like they're going to have a pretty full race schedule next year.
Yeah, I was super excited when they were saying they're reopening it because, like you said, we've been really good down there. That was where we won our track championship in 2016, and for whatever reason, it just seemed like we were always really good there. We never were lucky enough to get some of those bigger ones, like when they're having the Simpkins and the Nationals and stuff. We would always either come home second or third, but always seem to do really good there. And if I had to say why, that place always raced more like a momentum track. Mm-hmm. And that's what I always that was where I seemed to do better, was at the larger tracks. We go to Hanford, Tulare, Stockton when it used to be the big track, Vegas, and I always felt more comfortable at the larger tracks than I felt like I could do at some of these tighter places. And that's what's kind of crazy about Merced is it's so small, but it races so fast with the way that it's shaped. And it was kind of the same thing. We always had speed there, but just never really, not quite just enough to be able to move around and do what we need to do. But yeah, Santa Maria for sure I was super stoked about that. We weren't able to go yet this year. One of them, I think we were at Speed Week up in Oregon when they had one of them, and then there was one during one of the Clash races. So I think we were in Petaluma mm-hmm. for the Clash race, and then we went somewhere else too. All three of them were on top of another one that we already kind of committed to, and was it that big race in Yreka? I don't remember, but yeah, of the three, I think they've had three. They were on top of, something that we were already doing, but if they end up doing it full time and we get that AMOD done, or even if we do SportMod again next year, we'll definitely make sure we make it down there and support what they got going on there. Just one for trying to support as many racetracks as we can. That's what we've always tried to do. And then two, we always really like that place. It's not too far from home. It's a couple hours. That's what's nice about about a lot of these places. Santa Maria was 2 hours, Merced 2 hours, Antioch 2 hours, Stockton was 2 hours. So it makes it easy for us to kind of travel around and go support all the other places and hit as many races as we can.
Are you looking to find that adrenaline rush, but you can't because you're not at the racetrack? Well, check out the IMCA TV Replay subscription library to have access to thousands of hours of racing for just $24.99 a month. Relive all the moments of the Speedway Motors IMCA Super Nationals fueled by Casey's at Boone Speedway, the Harris Clash at Deer Creek Speedway in Spring Valley, Minnesota, the IMCA TV Winter Nationals at Cocopah Speedway in Somerton, Arizona, Florida's Clash on the Coast, and dozens of Speedway Motors IMCA weekly racing program racetracks from across the nation, as well as the IMCA TV Dirtcast podcast. Plus, 25% of that $24.99 monthly fee goes towards the Drivers Point Fund and is a great way to help out your local racers. In 2023, over $97,000 was paid out to IMCA drivers directly at over 50 racetracks across the country. Please note that live broadcasts are not part of the replay subscription. That's IMCA TV. IMCA TV, where America comes to watch racing. 14H, that's the number that you run now. Is there any backstory why that number was selected?
Yes and no. It's kind of tied into the whole four-banger thing of starting a year early. I was supposed to be 14, so we thought it'd be funny to make the car number 14, and then it just always stuck. And we were the black and white and purple 14 forever. And the SportMod, we did that first SportMod we got from Clay. It was gray and white and purple, and always kind of just stuck with that theme. One of my favorite bodies was my 2017 body we put on for Vegas, and it had a little bit more orange in it, but still kind of the same idea, black and purple. And when we switched to AMON, it was my dad's old SportMod. And so the first body that I had on it was his SportMod body, so it was black and blue. And we were kind of on a new adventure. We were AMOD racing, and so whenever when we built the first body for that one, we did it all white and maroon, because maroon was always kind of one of my other favorite colors, and it came out pretty clean. So then when we did it the second time, I just reversed everything and did an all maroon body with a little bit of white accents in it, and got a lot of compliments for both those cars of them looking nice. And then when we did this car, it started out with my brother's old body, so it was all white, and then kind of wanted to do something a little bit different, and so I ended up doing all the black up the center and the gray sides, and no color at all, just black and gray. And it came out better than I thought it was going to, for it not having any kind of color in the numbers or anything. But I couldn't help myself, and I had to get some purple for it. And so I got some purple wheel covers, and I got a hood scoop that I haven't put on yet. But it, coincidentally, ever since the purple wheel covers went on too, those when we won the 3 races in a row in all of our heat races. So everyone likes to joke and say that was what changed for us. We put the purple wheel covers on, and we got 3 clean sweeps in a row.
Right, purple's the color of royalty and victory. So.
Yep.
Well, that's good. So your dad's Doug, right? And then your brother's Jonathan, or do I got that backwards?
No, yeah, correct.
Okay.
Doug's my dad and John's my brother.
Okay, yeah, because I remember them racing, because I went to Merced quite a bit, like 2021. I went there maybe like 2 or 3 times, and I remember seeing you guys there a lot, and I think that's the first time that I met you guys was you, and then I was trying to get you guys straight, and then there was Matt and Matthew Mayo, and then there was the whole Thomas bunch. Holy smokes, those guys.
Yeah.
But yeah. No, just trying to make sure that that I was recalling that correctly.
Yeah, there for a while it was crazy because you had Tanner Chase and Tyler, and then if their dad Darren raced, and the four of them, and then like you said, Matt and Matt Mayo.
Yeah.
And then my brother and myself, and then now you have the two Frazier boys, and then the two Bannisters, and you have the two Bakers, and you got
it's
a handful of the families are all 20 cars for a main event almost.
Tag team championship, yeah. Yeah. Nice. Well, Prunedale, down by Monterey Bay. Not too far from Watsonville, where Ocean Speedway is. For people that have never been there, I mean, it seems to be a pretty big hub for agriculture, much like the Central Valley is, but this is on the coast. For people that have never been there, what are some things that you would recommend?
Well, I mean, all the main tourist stuff is like going over to Monterey to the wharf and going to the aquarium. Mm-hmm. And then Carmel has some nicer higher end things. And then really there's not, I mean, unless you're coming over here to visit the beach because you live in the valley or somewhere you don't have the ocean, that's kind of what the main attraction is. There's not a whole lot around here other than the aquarium and the ocean. We always have to kind of travel out if we want to go do something. All the amusement parks are a little bit further away. So stuff like that, we don't have any of that kind of stuff around here. It's all kind of just we got the racetrack. That's 20 minutes from us. It's over there at the fairgrounds, Santa Cruz County Fairgrounds, Watsonville. And then, with however many years ago San Jose closed, that was the second track. San Jose is about an hour from here. Mm-hmm. But I mean, there's not a whole lot. But when you grew up here, you get tired of going to the beach and everything, so I don't get excited about it as others do that. Sure. That would be coming from somewhere else, but it seems to be, but I can see why it would be a big deal and super exciting if it wasn't something that, again, was just 20 minutes away and you could go whenever you wanted. But we all enjoy going to the wharf still and having, everything's fresh. It's right there on the water. Mm-hmm. And so, stuff like that, we would still go and do all that stuff. But
in the city's not that far. Probably about a couple, I mean, obviously traffic is the main factor, but it's 90 minutes, maybe a couple hours to San Francisco?
Yeah, probably. I think it takes us about an hour and a half, hour 45, like if we were going over to Oracle Park to watch the Giants play or something. Mm-hmm. And then, like you said, depending on traffic, if we try to go to a Friday night game, it takes a while to get over there versus if we're going to, one of the midday Saturday games or a Sunday game or something like that. I think we went to like a random like Monday or Wednesday night game, and that wasn't too bad getting over there that late. But yeah, you got now the Oakland's moving, but the two stadiums for the A's and the Giants are just under 2 hours, and then the Niners stadium in Santa Clara, that's probably an hour and a half or so, depending on traffic for that one too. Mm-hmm. And then obviously the Sharks are in San Jose. If you like hockey, that's not too far. And then I'm trying to think. That's kind of, I guess that'd be the Raiders moved a couple years back, but
sure, yeah.
But yeah, that kind of, and then the Warriors are right there, like a block away from the Giants stadium. So that's about the same amount of time to get over that. Going to Sacramento isn't too bad too. If you wanted to go to a Kings game or something, Sacramento's probably like 3 hours from here.
Okay. Yeah, you get what is that, 680, then just hit the 80, go over Benicia Bridge, somewhere about there, go through Walnut Creek, and then come out Fairfield?
If I was going to go to Sacramento from here, I'd go over the pass and just get on 5 and then shoot down that way. Like if I was going to Stockton, through Centinela and all that.
Pacheco Pass through Gilbert.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. When I was going to Santa Maria, I was debating that because it's like, man, I don't want to do it because I was going down on a Friday and I was going to be timing it going like 7 o'clock, but it turned out to be really nice. I kept on, I went 505 to 80 and then on to 680 all the way down. And the only time there was a slowdown is when 101 and 680 came together there right about San Jose. And then it was just a merging deal. And then once the merging section was over, it was hammered down to where I was staying at San Luis Obispo.
Yeah. Yeah, right there it gets backed up that, and then
but the traffic,
right there before Pismo gets backed up.
I was going to say, the traffic going the other way, though, like going out of the cities, was a whole different story. It was like 6 wide, bumper to bumper, just barely even crawling. So I was like, okay, this is that's the stuff that I was afraid I was going to hit. Because I was just going to go down like Patterson, Santa Nella, and then go over the mountain, but it's all good. People that you want to thank, I know obviously your family, a major part of making this happen, and Clay Daly, of course, but and you're more than welcome to thank them again. This takes a lot of sponsors and a lot of support and a lot of effort just to run a weekly program at a local level, let alone for a guy like you that has did a lot of traveling this year.
Yeah, it's been a ton of traveling, and the last couple of years we've been a little light on sponsors, but it definitely it takes every little bit. And if you have one less sponsor, and that's one less thing that you either aren't going to be able to do, or that you got to work that little bit more and try to cover yourself. But always the biggest part of it is my dad. And he's probably out in the shop right now, and he's always got countless hours out there doing something and always tweaking on everything all the time, whether it's at the house or at the track. And it'll either be freezing and in the middle of November, like when Antioch and Merced would have that Thanksgiving race, and he'll be out in the cold tinkering on the car in the pits, and we're bundled up in the trailer. Or it'll be the dead of summer and we're in Bakersfield and it's 112 and he's out in the sun tinkering on the car again. It's like, hey, you need to sit down and drink some water, or get in here and warm up. And you don't always need to be doing something.
You got to parent the parent.
Yeah. But he's always tweaking on something and adjusting something and making sure something's moving free, and always got hands on the car. And and I feel like it shows with, unless we get in a wreck, we're always finishing races. We don't have mechanical failures, unless something weird happens, like earlier in the year, one of our gears locked up on us, which was super weird because we hadn't had something like that happen in a long time. But yeah, he definitely makes sure that we don't DNF from a parts failure. And so that's always, it's always nice being able to sit in staging and not have to think like, oh man, like I forgot to check that. Is that loose, or is it going to come off, or is something going to happen? I'm always able to sit there and know that my car is 1,000% ready, thanks to him, and just focus on what I needed to do in the seat while I'm out there and not worrying about the car. And Clay's obviously been a huge part of all of it and helpful. And we've been with him in his cars since 2016. We haven't had anything else. And we always get asked, like, oh, you guys are never going to try something different. And we're like, well, we've had a lot of success with his stuff, so we never really felt the need or interest in looking elsewhere. being that my rookie year in 15, we won those 8 races, like I said, and Watsonville track championship for rookie of the year, and then track championship Santa Maria the year after that, and then Watsonville again after that. Wins in both SportMod and AMOD, and so he's been a key part in our success, and just even off the track with back at the garage with just helping keeping the whole program moving and getting parts and making sure that we're always up to date and current on what we need to do, and just always keeping like I said, kind of keeping everything moving forward and chugging along, especially with all the traveling and then Bruce over at Midstate, he helps out a handful of guys, and he's been a long-time friend of my dad's, and he's been with us from the beginning and still with us. And Mitch Moss has been with us from the beginning. And Jeff and Kerry at Dixon and Auto have always been a part of our racing and like a second family to me. That was where I got my first job, was for them over there, and always making sure everything's good. And I've got Rob Gallagher on board. Rob's always been there for us and helping out whenever needed. And we've got a couple new ones. The last year or two, we picked up Pilot Sandblast and Coating. So Matt over there with those guys, he's been helping us out, and like pretty much on the spot. Like I can call him up and be like, hey, I gotta get all these bumpers powder coated, and he'll like drop them off. I'll have them ready in a couple of days, and he does. So stuff like that's helpful. Like if it's midweek and we're like, oh shoot, we got to build some bumpers, and then knowing that we can get them back quick and take them with us for the weekend or something. And I've got, trying to think, it's a lot harder than when you're not standing there looking at the car. We had Selena Sally Tire helping us out there for a while. We didn't do anything this year, but that was huge for them. Super thankful for that the last handful of years, being able to get tires with the price of tires going up as much as it has. We've got Dwayne ADS wall coverings. He's that's probably one of the nicest guys I've ever met, and he same thing. He's another one like Rob that just is always lets me know, hey, whenever you need something, just let me know, and always there to help in any way, shape, or form he can. He works out at the racetrack in Watsonville, so that's just kind of how he is. He's helping everyone and everything, and I think that's all. That's all of them.
All right.
Yeah. This year was light. There on sponsors. There was the ones that are there have been the long time ones and the biggest ones, and so always appreciate them. And you can't ever give sponsors enough thanks. I don't feel it. The wins are the biggest thanks, and we haven't had a lot of those, so there's not a lot of opportunities. But I try to make sure even when I see them in person, I just let them know, that thanks for helping us out, and we're going to try to get you guys some wins.
Well, and for people that want to help you out personally, is there like apparel sales that you guys have going on, or maybe something apparel run in the future to try and kind of have people do that way through the support of t-shirts or hoodies?
Apparel was one thing that we never really did. We've always talked about it and hadn't never really pulled the trigger on it. And we did hats. We did 12 hats one time, and they went a lot faster than I thought they were going to go. And so then that's kind of what made me start thinking, like, oh, maybe I should start doing like a couple other things. We always have pictures to hand it out, like whenever the kids come into the pits after the races and stuff like that. But yeah, pro was the one thing that we never really ever got on that bandwagon and never did. But we've always thought about it, just never pulled the trigger on doing shirts or hoodies and stuff like that.
Okay. Well, I know it's a busy season that's coming up, a lot of congestion as far as the schedule is, even though it's winding down very fast. But I wish you the best of luck, and it was a pleasure to have you come on here and tell us your story.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Well, race fans, that does it for this interview. We hope you enjoyed it, and we hope that you continue to enjoy these upcoming interviews. We appreciate it if you would like and subscribe wherever you're listening, whether it's on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, wherever it's at. Give us a like and give us a subscription so that we can deliver more of these great interviews to you for your listening pleasure. In the meantime, wherever we're at, wherever you're listening, we hope you have a great rest of your day and a pleasant evening, and we will see you soon here at Highside Racing Promotions.